Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we're talking about Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. And Nosferatu is a remake of the 1922 silent film of the same name, which is an adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. In the 1830s, estate dealer Thomas Hutter travels to Transylvania for a fateful meeting with Count Orlok. In his absence, Hutter's new bride Ellen is plagued by horrific visions and an increasing sense of dread and soon encounters an evil force that's far beyond her control. I've been a fan of Eggers' work ever since he made his debut with The Witch back in 2016, and it's gone on to become one of my favorite horror films in the last decade. As you guys can tell just by my shirt that I'm wearing here, and then I don't know if it's going to pick up really well on the camera or not, but I got my copy of The Witch on Blu-ray right here, and this wasn't when The Witch came out. Obviously, it was after the movie came out on Blu-ray. I met Anya Taylor-Joy twice now when she was promoting Thoroughbreds. Saw her at a premiere in Boston, and then shortly after that when she was doing promotion work for Emma, I got her to sign my copy of The Witch. So definitely one of my favorite items in my collection for sure, just because she's one of my favorite actresses working today. And so I remember when Nosferatu was originally announced that it was going to be one of his next projects. I believe it was going to be his second film, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong on that. But it was announced, it's been announced for a while now, and it just kept getting pushed back for whatever reason, and eventually Anya Taylor-Joy ended up dropping out because she was originally cast in the role of Ellen, and then she dropped out, which I assume probably was because of scheduling conflicts, just because of, in the past, almost decade now, she's become quite a popular actress herself. She's one of my favorites working today, and so I was really disappointed when she had dropped out of the film. But now, all things said and done, we are finally getting Nosferatu at the end of 2024. Now the question is, was it worth the wait? One of the things that you can always expect with a Robert Eggers film is where he loves to play in this historical sandbox is just the attention and the accuracy of the time when the film takes place. Everything from the sets to the gorgeous costumes, the dialogue, it just really pulls you into this world and story and does an amazing job of building this gothic atmosphere and filling every frame with a sense of dread. Now, I will let you guys know, I have not actually seen the original Nosferatu that came out in 1922. It's one of those movies that is on my radar. It's on my list of things that I do have to watch because I know a lot of people call it a classic and just has its place in cinema history. So one of those that I got to check out for sure. But I have seen the Bela Lugosi's Dracula. I have seen Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 as well, and there is some similarities with this story from there, obviously. As far as the acting and the performances go in the film, Eggers has assembled an incredible array of talent here for his passion project, one of those being Nicholas Hoult, who plays Thomas Hutter, who goes to visit Count Orlok in the film, and there's one scene in particular, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but I'll just say there's one scene in particular where he has to portray that he is just absolutely terrified being in the presence of this creature, and he just absolutely nails it there. Incredible performance, I think, from him. One of my favorites, might be my favorite from him this year, and I've seen several different films with him in 2024. But then you also have people like Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Emma Corin, you have Willem Dafoe, Ralph Ineson. So, I mean, the cast is just amazing from top to bottom, and they all deliver really solid performances here.
Come to me.
Now, two of the performances that I really wanted to focus on were Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgard. Lily plays Ellen in the film, which, as I previously mentioned, was supposed to be played by Anya Taylor-Joy, so I was curious to see what Lily was going to bring, where I haven't seen any of her previous work prior to this, but I thought that she just absolutely crushed it. I was really surprised by her. And a lot is asked for her from just not only an emotional aspect, but also physically as well. There are several scenes here where she's convulsing that I thought were really effective and actually creeped me out quite a bit. She's also torn between loving her husband, but then she's drawn to Orlok in a way she can't explain all the time, and that is also kind of terrifying, especially if you were in her position. A lot of this film really hinged on her performance, and she delivered for me. And then you have Bill Skarsgard, who plays Count Orlok, and holy shit, guys, what a transformative performance from him. If I didn't know Bill was playing Count Orlok going into this movie, I never would have guessed it was him. He just completely became this character and was unrecognizable from the look of him, which I thought was great. And I know there's some controversy on something that has to do with his face, and I won't say what it is because, like I said, I don't want to give you guys any spoilers, but it wasn't something that actually really bothered me. He was just this ugly creature that had this presence about him, especially with his booming voice. I can only imagine his fellow actors seeing him for the first time on this film and just their reaction to that. An excellent performance from him here. And I love the use of shadows in this film. There's one particular shot where you have Ellen, she is facing a window and she's basically levitating / floating, and then you see the curtains moving and you see Count Orlok's shadow there. You have that shot. You also have the shot where his hand, the shadow of his hand is going over the town, kind of encapsulating it in darkness. And there's many more like that used throughout the film. I really love that because it just added to that gothic atmosphere for me.
It was our wedding. When we turned around, everyone was dead.
The only thing that I would say is maybe a negative for me is that overall the pacing was good. I really enjoyed it. I love a slow burn. But there was maybe some scenes here and there where you could have cut a little bit of time out. So I would say that's probably only the real negative for me overall. Robert Eggers is definitely one of those directors that he's not necessarily for everyone. I know that. I have seen the comments and stuff online where some people saying this film is boring, and honestly, I can totally understand coming from that perspective. He's not going to be for everyone, but I'm a big fan of his work. I've loved every one of his projects. I'd say my least favorite, which I know some people love, is probably The Lighthouse. It's just such a fucking weird movie, but it wasn't something that I hated, and I did appreciate the artistic level of work that went into making that film. So anytime that he's getting ready to come out with a new project, I'm always, eagerly anticipating it. And I'll be curious if he ever kind of goes into modern times, because so far he's done everything it's been from a historical perspective, which, don't get me wrong, I love it because he's great at what he does. But it'd be interesting to see if he does kind of venture into that at some point. But yeah, honestly, for me, I wanted to kind of sleep on it. I saw the film last night with a packed crowd, wanted to sleep on it, and this film has just continued to grow on me. It's probably one of my favorite vampire films, of all time. So as far as the score goes, I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. I can't wait to check this thing out again. I want to see if I can try and see it in IMAX. I looked and I don't believe it's playing in Dolby, which is kind of a bummer, but I want to see it on IMAX or, one of the biggest screens possible, because it's one of those films that I feel like you do want to experience it on the big screen. But yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. I'm really curious, what you guys think of it overall. If you have seen the film, let me know down below in the comments. And where would you rank it amongst Eggers' films so far to date? So let me know down below in the comments. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat, and have a happy new year, guys.